It's too dangerous to be in the park. So nobody wants to go outside, go to the park. What are you doing? Just being at home, watching TV, being boring in your phone. This is pretty normal at that time. But now I can see kids taking the bus, going, walking in the night. Like, nobody's worried about being murdered now. I can tell you through my own experience that I'm free now. I have liberty to work, to do tourism, to just enjoy my life and know that my family is safe in this country, that I'm not gonna be afraid that somebody is gonna kill my brothers, one member of my family or my parents.
We're live here once again from Bitcoin Beach, and we have Sandy joining us today. Sandy is 100% Bitcoin business here in El Salvador. Sandy Wave Tours, is that the name of it?
Yeah, that's the name of my company.
So you are going much further than most Bitcoiners you'll run into conferences or anywhere else. You're literally doing everything on a Bitcoin standard, including your business, which is pretty remarkable. There's not that many businesses that can say that. So we'll get into a little bit of the details of your tour business and how you can help Bitcoiners out that are coming to visit El Salvador. Yeah. But before that, I would love for you to share just a little bit of your history, what it was like growing up here. You've grown up during a time that it was kind of challenging to live in El Salvador. So give the viewers a little history and background.
Yeah, for sure. Like you say, I'm Sandy Waves. This is my business name. And I had a company, a tourist company, but I just started like 1-2 years ago. But I'm going to talk about my history. Like, I was born in the city, in San Salvador. So I had a really crazy story of my teenager, my time in San Salvador. And I was born in San Salvador. Everything was okay. One day my daddy decided that we're gonna move to Santa Ana. That is another departamento from El Salvador. And we went there. So I was like 6 years old when I went to Santa Ana. And it was great. I had family there, more friends, everything okay. But one day my daddy decided to come back to San Salvador. I was, I think, between 12 or 13 years old. So I came to San Salvador, and it was a completely different story from Santa Ana.
And that was in the late 90s, right? Like a little while after the war had ended?
Yeah. So at the time we had gang members like living around us. I was living in a private community, so it was fine, the place that I live. But I had to get out of there to go to my school. It's a public school. So I had a couple of friends who were gang members, and another ones were related with gang members. So I had to deal with all the situation when I was just 12, 13 years old. So
was there pressure on you to join?
No, never. But I was looking how maybe because I was a really skinny girl, so nobody looked at me like in a sexual mode, or I was so skinny, like, I don't know, like maybe they didn't feel like I will be brave enough to be a gang member. But I had 3 siblings, and my parents pay for transportation so they can take us from the home to the school, and from the school to home. But sometimes something happened with the microbus and we had to walk. And one day my daddy realized that we can walk, so he didn't pay it no more. So we had to deal with more people. Like we saw a couple of gang members fighting with more childs over there, more kids. And it was a little bit like confusing. I didn't know how to behave with them. So I preferred just to go straight to my home, not talk with them, avoid problems. And my brothers did the same. And they were like, I had two little brothers, so nobody paid attention to them. And I had another one who looks like my twin, but it's just 1 year older than me. But nobody asked us to enjoy the gang members because they knew that my parents is a strict man. And even if they will ask us, I will say, no, my big brother, he will do it the same. But I knew that they were gang members. And sometimes I didn't know it until the teacher asked us to do homework in a group. So we had to go to another kid's house. And then we realized that the big brother is a gang member. And that was like scary. So we had to just behave like we didn't see the guy. We are cool. So we know that we cannot mess with that kid. Like, just be cool with this kid because he's a family gang member. But that was between 13 and 17 years old. And we saw a lot of things happening.
I'm sure you had friends that probably died during that time or had major issues.
Yeah, we went to a kid's house who apparently died, and we had to get inside. But he died for another reason. He was sick. So we got into the whole classmate. We can get into the house, and a lot of gang members were around the house. And that was scary also because you don't want to be with them, be around them. You're scary at the time. You're just a kid.
Yeah.
And you have to be a good kid, thinking your future, listening to your parents. And I know that if I get involved in this, my parents are going to punish me. So I was scared more to my daddy than the people around me because I know what my parent can do to me or to my brothers. So he did a good job. Thanks to my parents. He's not going to understand because he doesn't speak English. Kept you out of trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was a troublemaker. I was a really troublemaker, but I didn't want to mess with them because that's too much for me. So,
and they controlled that whole area. And
yeah. So they were outside to the school at that time. And I remember we were like just waiting inside to the school for the microbus. So we know that he's going to be late sometimes. So we were like just looking. And then he just hung from the car. And then we just go direct to the microbus. And sometimes we just had to walk. So we walked with a couple of kids who live in the same community. And we were just rushing to get home before it gets dark because we were in the school, like in El Salvador. We have 2 different times to go to school, from 7 to 12 and from 1 to 5, almost 6. So when you leave the school in the evening, you get to your home probably in the night sometimes, depends the season. But
so did it feel like, during that time, it was kind of like living in a war zone? You couldn't go outside, you couldn't play, you just went to school and then came home and always kind of living under that constant fear.
Yes, and I was asking my parents to let me go to my friend's house, and they always say no.
Yeah.
So it was like, I was all the time like, you're protecting me too much. I want to go there. But they say, no, it's because we love you.
Yeah.
We want you to be here. You're better in home than going there. We don't know what can happen to you. But I was just a teenager and trying to see my friends.
Yeah. Yeah. Trying to be a kid.
Yeah.
So how has it affected you seeing the country kind of be transformed and seeing kids now being able to, roam freely and not have to worry about that gang violence?
Yeah. I'm happy for those kids because they can have a really good time, meet more friends. Like I was talking to one of my friends, and she told me that her kids are going to a different neighbor that I used to live. And she told me, and I asked her, like, they can go to that place now because I remember they have different gangs. We don't have gangs no more. And she told me, very happy. So they are just going to different, and they are like 11 years old kids, girls and boys. And I didn't do it when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I know that I
Well,
would be murdered.
I remember that a lot of people wouldn't go to school because they weren't in the gangs themselves, but just if you were lived in the part of town that one gang controlled, you weren't allowed to cross into the other part of town that the other gang controlled. And so a lot of times the school would be in the other side of town. And so people just couldn't go to school because they couldn't, if they crossed over there, they'd put themselves in danger. And I remember even in this area, we'd go surfing and people would say, no, I can't go there. They're
Exactly.
like, you can go, they won't bother you. But
no, for a
if
local
if I go there, I'll be putting my life in danger. And so it's crazy to think that was just not that long ago that it was like that, because it's so different now.
Like less than 1 year and a half. Like just started last year.
Yeah.
But now I can see my friends telling me that they have kids and they are going to different places. They go to the park. I couldn't go to the park.
Nobody used to go to the parks. It was like if you did not go to the park.
No, if you go to the park, being a teenager, especially if you're a boy, the police will ask you, what are you doing there? Because only the gang members, we're going to the park.
Yeah.
Because it's like, this is our territory. You cannot go there. And I remember when I was an adult living in San Salvador, sometimes they make like competitions, like football, basketball, something like that, just a sport. Nobody wanted to participate. It's too dangerous to be in the park. So nobody wanted to go outside, go to the park. What are you doing? Just being at home, watching TV, being boring in your phone. This is pretty normal at that time. But now I can see kids taking the bus, going, walking in the night. Like, nobody's worried about being murdered now. But
well, I think even the area that you grew up in was pretty close to the Lake Ilopango, right?
yeah, like 30, 40 minutes.
Okay. So I had always heard that it was a beautiful lake, but don't go there because, it's gang controlled area, where now, all these people are redoing their lake houses and it's becoming this beautiful scene again.
Yes, now it's like a tourist place again, because lakes are tourist places. But at the time, nobody wanted to go there, because you rent a house and you don't know who is the neighbor. So they can just jump and ask you for food, money, or just steal your stuff. So people, they stop it to go there, to the lake, Ilopango Lake. It's Apulo Lake. This is the real name of the lake in Ilopango. And I was living when I was a teenager in Ilopango, and it's one of the worst part of San Salvador, because they have a lot of gang members and different gang members. It's not just one, because if will be just one, you can go wherever you want to go. But if you go in this street, it's one gang member. If you go on the other, it's another gang member. So you're in the border. What does it mean? That they can just fight and you can be in the middle. So you want to avoid to be in the middle.
No, I remember sometimes even when we'd go in those areas, we'd always roll our windows down so they could see that
exactly.
we weren't gang members, or we weren't, usually if you were
turn off the lights.
If you're a foreigner, they kind of like would leave you alone. But I talked to the people that are like, no, I can't go into that area because I'm from this part of town. And if I cross over there,
they will ask you for your ID.
Yeah.
And if your ID say that you're from the other territory, they will just take you out of the car. They wouldn't.
Yeah. So what
Get
would
you
you
down.
say to people that are kind of critical of how the government's handling things here, as somebody who's kind of lived through that? Do you think it's overall been a positive thing? Do you have concerns, or what do you tell people when they say, it's, the police are too heavy-handed, or how do you deal with that?
I can tell you through my own experience that I'm free now. I have liberty to work, to do tourism, to just enjoy my life, and know that my family is safe in this country, that I'm not gonna be afraid that somebody is gonna kill my brothers, one member of my family or my parents. And I was living at that time with gang members, and I had my own company when I was an adult living in San Salvador. So I had to avoid all the gang member asking for extortion. So now that I don't have gangs, I'm free to live my own life. And human rights should be happy for that. That normal people who wants to have a family, who wants to work, they can do it with liberty. To don't be worried about being murdered, or being worried if they just say bye-bye in the morning to a family member and they don't know if the family member is gonna come back alive.
Yeah.
Because sometimes he's gonna come back dead, and sometimes never come back. Because from my friends, I heard a lot of stories about people that never came back. They don't know where is the body, what happened with them. I didn't have personal experience in my family, but my friends, I saw them suffering because they never get back the body.
They never know what happened.
They never knew what happened.
Yeah. So you were running it was a clothing business?
Yes, I used to have a clothing design company. So it's
like T-shirts, or what type of?
At the time, I had a company, clothing company, who designed clothes just for women.
Okay.
But one day I asked myself, okay, there's a lot of companies making the same clothes for women. So I found the way just to have a niche. I don't know if this is the word.
Yeah.
The word for in English. So I made cloth for extra size, like plus size.
Okay.
So, COVID came and I had to sell everything at the time. And I moved to the beach.
And why to the beach?
Because I love the beach. Yeah. It's like the best place to be for me. I love the ocean. It's peaceful. And I don't know, it's the feeling of being in the nature. I love this. And this is maybe why I like to be a tour guide, being the natural all the time. Yeah.
You were telling me before we started, I still think you're lying to me. I don't think I believe you, but you were telling me you didn't speak any English before COVID.
No, I didn't.
That you've learned all of this since COVID. And you're making me feel bad about my Spanish skills because I've been here for almost 20 years and your English is much better than my Spanish. So what, you just felt like, hey, I'm locked down here during COVID, so I'm going to learn English?
Yeah.
Did you have the idea to be a tour guide at that time? Or?
No, never.
Okay.
I thought when I sold everything from my company, I said to myself, okay, sell everything, move to the beach. You don't know how much time you're going to be in the beach. Then you can come back to the city and start your company again, designing clothing, having my clothing company again. But I was in the beach and I met with a lot of tourists, people from different countries. They were locked down here. So no, I don't know if you remember. Nobody
I
can
remember.
just
I was
travel.
here. Yeah.
You were here?
Yeah.
Okay, so nobody can go back to their country. Even Salvadorian couldn't get back to El Salvador. So they stay.
My daughter and son, they had classmates whose parents went to Disneyland for the weekend or shopping in Miami, and then couldn't come back for like 6 months, I think.
Wow.
So yeah.
Yeah, so they were there at
yeah.
the time. So I was trying to just meet more people. I was being depressed in my room. So I was just walking around. Police asked me to go back to my room. So I had to go back to the room. And one day I find a way to go out. So I bought a bunch of dogs' food. So I was holding dogs' food and feeding dogs. So I was like, no, I'm feeding dogs. Somebody's feeding the dogs. We don't have too many people feeding dogs. So they say like, okay, go feed the dogs and go back home. So I was just meeting more tourists here. And I realized that I couldn't speak English. Like, okay, I can do this. I am boring, getting depressed in my room. It's hot. I didn't have AC. So I just want to see the ocean, play in the ocean. And I started to pay for English lessons exactly on, April 2020.
And you did that online?
Yes, online. Okay. So 45 minutes class per day, 5 days per week. And the rest of the day, I was just listening music in English, just reading, watching movies, trying to improve my English. So the next day, I can show my coach, my teacher, that I'm improving. And I was just passing next level, until one day, I met this guy, even in quarantine. And he was a Bitcoiner. You know?
And was that the first time you had heard, or did you kind of hear like, there's this crazy Bitcoin thing happening here, or?
No, this is the first time meeting more people. I met this guy and he was complaining a lot. And it's funny. I'm going to tell you something. I was like, oh man, this man is complaining too much, but he speaks English. So come on, Claudia, practice your English. So one day we get in contact, like we exchange phone numbers, and he was sending me information about government, money, virus, why don't take the COVID shots. And I was like, this man is complaining for everything. And I was reading. It was everything in English. So I was practicing my English. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because I'm complaining for the same stuff now. It's like, and I realized that everything that he showed me is true. So he showed me the best money that I could meet, like I can know, and it's about Bitcoin. So he told me that he's gonna put an ATM in El Tunco. And he did it. We have an ATM in El Tunco. And when he come back all the time to El Salvador, I'm saying hi to him. And I'm like, so happy that I met him at that time. And
I remember hearing that because we had helped bring the one into El Zonte. And then all of a sudden somebody's like, hey, there's a Bitcoin ATM in El Tunco. I was like, oh, that's amazing. And so it was crazy how quickly it happened.
Yeah, and I was thinking, and something funny at the time is he told me like, yes, I want to put a ATM in El Tunco. And I was like, what kind of ATM? One Bitcoin ATM. And I was like, who is going to buy Bitcoin in El Tunco? You know who is buying Bitcoin? Who was buying Bitcoin? Now I'm not buying Bitcoin. I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm not buying Bitcoin. And I was like, who is going to buy Bitcoin in El Tunco? So I was buying Bitcoin in this ATM, in another ATM, Chivo ATM.
You were?
Yeah, I was.
And why are you not buying Bitcoin now?
Because I don't need to buy Bitcoin. I get paid on Bitcoin. So I don't accept fiat money. So I get paid.
So if somebody wants to pay you in dollars, you say, you're going to have to get some Bitcoin because I'm Bitcoin only.
Yes, because I work only with Bitcoiners. Only if something happened with the wallet or something like that. But it's weird. Like, we never had this kind of problem. I had this problem just one time. And I was rushing. And this is the only one time that they pay me on Bitcoin. But I accept 100% Bitcoin.
So I think you're the first person I've met who's literally doing only everything in Bitcoin, especially for like a customer-facing business.
Yeah.
I mean, that speaks to how many Bitcoiners are showing up in the country. And how did you make the jump from being a clothing designer to being a tour guide?
When the country opened again, I had to work. So I ran out of money. I was eating good, spending money, doing nothing for a couple of months. So I decided that I had to work, and I asked to a hotel in El Tunco to give me a job. They gave me a job, and I got payment on dollars at the time, and it was okay. I didn't need to get Bitcoin. And then I moved to another hotel a couple of months later, and I was speaking English at the time, so I was meeting more people. And I moved to the other place, and I was a front desk manager there. So I was helping people to find, if we don't have a room available, I was helping them to find another hotel with the same rate. And they asked me for a car rental, so I was helping them with a car rental, with a motorcycle, with surf lessons, and almost everything that I'm doing now in my company. So one day I realized that before that, so I was with these people, new friends. They were asking me if I want to go and do tours with them. So they will pay for my tour. So I was going to this place, different place in El Salvador, and I like it. I like to know more people, meet more people, and I love the natural. So I like the volcano, lakes, cities. So one day I realized that I knew a lot of places to visit, and I was doing for free. After people asked me to go and they pay for me, and I was inviting people to go with me. So they have a car, or we pay for a car, and I did it for free. And one day I was tired to work in a hotel. So because I had my own company, I didn't have a boss. I was the boss. So one day I realized that
you weren't used to having to clock in. And, yeah.
No, even I didn't like when my parents told me what to do.
Yeah.
It's like I'm independent. I'm a woman. So I don't like people to tell me what to do.
You want to make your own schedule and call your own shots.
Yes, exactly. So sometimes people, like my friends told me, hey, we're going to do a barbecue. And I'm like, I had to work. Hey, we're going to this place. And I was like, I had to work. So I didn't like that. And so one day I was like, okay, I can work for myself. And I remember I was giving a Spanish lesson to tourists. Mostly time they are surfers. And I met a couple of Bitcoiners in the same way, teaching Spanish. They come here just for a couple of days, weeks, and I was providing the Spanish lesson. The next year they came and I was giving Spanish lessons and sometimes tours. So I was charging for tours. So last year, somebody helped me with the webpage, and this person was telling me, why you don't make a webpage? And I was using my social media, my personal social media, to invite people to that. So I opened different social media just to do my business. And one day I realized that I like Bitcoiners. I like the conversation, the way they think. We agree about almost everything, the government and like the topics. And they can pay me with Bitcoin. So I don't have, and at that time, Bitcoin was like 15,000 when I started to receive my payments on Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is going up. So, my wallet is going up also.
So this is your website here, right?
Yeah.
And you did this yourself. You didn't know anything about it, and you just figured it out. I love that. You just make it happen.
Yeah. Somebody helped me and gave me the tools, told me, okay, to do a website, you have to do this, this, and that. And sometimes I was asking for, hey, how can I put this in this picture or that?
So people can contact you and say, hey, we're coming to El Salvador for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We want to stay a week at the beach and a week in the mountains. We need transportation, or we want to rent a car, and you'll just take care of everything for them.
Everything. They don't have to be worried about nothing. I can take them or give the car in the airport, and I can make the full schedule. And if it's a business tour, I can get in contact with the lawyers to make an appointment. And if they, for example, I have a couple of clients that they want to put a business here, like they are doctors or farmers and they want to do something. So I get in contact with different ministers, like the health minister, and I ask, what is the process? And I send the information about this.
So you've had somebody that was like a doctor in the US that wants to move down here?
They're around the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are they able to transfer their licenses? I asked because my dad's in dermatology and he loves it down here. He's like, find out if I can practice here in El Salvador with my license.
They can do it, but they had to make a process and they had to show that they are a doctor in United States and that that El Salvador can provide a license to work here. Because sometimes we have different kind of doctors that in El Salvador we don't have. Yeah. So it's not available for some kind of specialties, but
it is. You have helped people even with that. So wow. So you do everything. What are your average clients? What are they looking for? Are they people that are trying to move here, or are they just coming for a week, or what is the normal? Or give me a couple. I'm sure there's different categories.
Yeah, like 50-50.
Okay.
They want to, but it's funny because they come for the tourists, like 1 week, 2 weeks, but they come because they want to move to El Salvador.
So they're checking it out. They're doing
exactly. And they get in contact with me. They say, hey, we want to go to El Salvador, stay in a hotel. We want to pay with Bitcoin. Maybe you can help us with that. So I make a list of places to pay with Bitcoin, hotels, restaurants. I can provide transportation if they don't want to drive, or if they want to have a car, I can provide a car, and everything is paid with Bitcoin so they can live in a Bitcoin standard and pay the groceries. I'm not gonna make the publicity, but we can pay the groceries in a grocery store with Bitcoin.
Yeah,
I do this
pretty much.
Yeah,
everything you need you can pay for in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So where can you? That's the one issue that I've had is finding gas stations where I can pay with Bitcoin. What's the secret to that? Where do I need to go?
It's a couple of places, but sometimes you ask to pay with Bitcoin and the system is broke. So right now I'm working on that, trying to install a POS.
Okay.
So I'm getting the contact of the manager or supervisor to talk with them and show how they can receive payments.
Well, tell them there's a lot of Bitcoiners that will specifically fill up at their station.
Yeah, this is what I'm doing. Every time that I visit a place, I want to live with Bitcoin standard and I want to take my customers, do tours, and I want them to pay with Bitcoin in a restaurant or if I had to pay in Bitcoin. Yeah. Because sometimes I forget that we still live in a fiat world. And one day I forget that I had to withdraw some dollars to go to do a tour. And I didn't have any dollar, probably $2, 2 coins. So I had a driver going with me and I had to ask him for fiat. It was oh my God. Next time, take note about this. You have to have some fiat. So
yeah, the gas station's the one thing we need to work, because supermarket, restaurants, hotels, all of that, it's pretty easy to find. We even bought some vehicles with Bitcoin, but the gas stations, they'll say they accept Bitcoin, but it's only Chivo. It's only through the banking app. It's not really Bitcoin.
Oh yeah, I know. Sometimes this app is taking so long.
Well, and for foreigners, they don't have Chivo, so they can't use it, and so it's definitely an issue. But do you have what's the longest you see people ask you to plan trips? Will they ask you to plan a few months for them, or is it usually hey, just plan the first week for us and then?
One day somebody asked me, sorry, I'm gonna drink it.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me, hey, we want to visit El Salvador. Can we arrange a call? And I was like, yeah, for sure. So we made the call in the evening and he told me, we want to visit El Salvador. So we are planning to go there. And I asked them, okay, when do you want to come? In 2 more days. And I was like, what? And they said, yeah, we had the ticket. We just want to be sure that you're going to take us from the airport and tell us where we can go, where we can stay. And we want to pay with Bitcoin. And it was like, oh my God, okay, I'm going to send you the list of places. I sent a document. So where they can pay with Bitcoin, hotel, restaurants, and I provide a car. So they were just driving a car and they did everything with Bitcoin. Yeah.
Have you taken any of your clients out to the island, La Paria?
Not
Bitcoin
yet.
island?
Not yet. And this is one of the places that I'm going soon because I heard that they are installing the POS. I just hear about this on Sunday.
Okay, yeah. It's a pretty new project. We were working with My First Bitcoin, or Me Premier Bitcoin, to kind of teaming up to see this become the first, fully Bitcoinized island. And so there's a guy, Quentin, and I'm forgetting his girlfriend's name right now, but really nice couple that they're, I think he's from France and she's from Mexico, and they're on the island, and they've been, onboarding a bunch of stores and helping during community programs. But I think it's going to be a real Bitcoin destination. So, and it's beautiful out there.
I'm going to put this in my list, and I'm going to suggest this in my next trip.
So I'll connect you with Quentin so that you can connect with him.
Yeah, for sure, because I really want to talk with more Bitcoiners, even locals.
Yeah.
This is something that I'm working right now. Like, I want to start to work. So I'm putting everything in a list in my computer because I want to visit more places. So I want to Bitcoinize those places that I'm going. I want to pay with Bitcoin, but they are not accepting Bitcoin. So every time that I go to a place, I want them to accept my money. It's hard money. It's the best money. So in the past, they accept cash. Then they improve the business. They accept credit cards. So now we are improving as a country, and we have a lot of people like Bitcoiners, tourists, and people who are expat living here, and they want to pay with Bitcoin. So
it's so much easier.
Exactly.
Much easier.
Now we have even cards, so you can pay with your cards.
Have you used the tap cards yet?
No, but I have.
They're rolling them out on the island, and
I'm gonna put my money there, and I'm going to the Peter.
We're gonna roll it out in Punta Mango also.
What is the name of the island?
It's La Paria.
La Paria. Yeah, La Paria.
So we're gonna, and then Punta Mango. I don't know if you ever taken your clients down there, but it's like a 45-minute boat ride from the island. So you could actually come stay in Punta Mango if they're like surfers, they want to stay there, and then do a day trip on the boat to the island, or stay on the island, do a day trip to Punta Mango. So we're trying to work those two communities together. They have a lot of natural ties anyways. So do you have very many of your clients that want to go down to like Las Flores and Punta Mango?
Sometimes they just want to leave the beach because they come to Bitcoin Beach.
Yeah.
My clients are Bitcoiners, so all of them want to know the Hub House. They want to see what is Bitcoin Beach, and they want to live with the Bitcoin standard, so they can buy pupusas, paying with Bitcoin. They can go to the store and buy a soda and pay with Bitcoin or water. So it's so easy to live with Bitcoin standard here. So when they are here, they just want to go to the mountains. Or the city because, the beach is hot.
But the beaches in the east and like Punta Mango are so beautiful. And I don't know if you know this, but actually we started with the Bitcoin Beach project first in Punta Mango.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we started it.
It's not in the story in the webpage.
It is. Actually, you got to dig a little bit. But it's... we started out there, and then we just realized with the distance from where we were living, it was going to be tough. And then COVID hit. But there's a number of stores out there. Even during COVID, we were sending Bitcoin to all the families in Punta Mango, and they were living on Bitcoin. So, and then there's a second Hope House that's built out there in Punta Mango. So you're going to have to go down there and see it.
Yeah. So now I have two places to go.
Yeah.
To this island and to the Bitcoin Beach in Las Flores. Definitely.
Yeah. I think we have some more pictures. So tell us about some of these beautiful places people can go in El Salvador. Because El Salvador is so remarkable. I mean, you can literally be from the beach to the mountains in an hour, and totally different climate, scenery, everything. But it's pretty much anywhere in the country you can be from one side to the other in 4 hours or less. So it's people can come here and experience so many different things.
Yeah, we can do Central Historic of San Salvador, go to the mountains, and end in the beach. Like you can have everything.
Tell us what these pictures are here that we have from your website.
This is San Antonio's waterfall. It's near to La Libertad. So it's a couple of minutes from here. It's a beautiful waterfall.
There's a lot of great waterfalls. In El
there's a lot of.
Yeah.
But you have to know when is the season because sometimes you want to go to the waterfall and they are dry. This is Coatepeque Lake, and I stay in the house.
Coatepeque Lake is so beautiful, and the weather's nice there because it's a little higher elevation, and it's one of my favorite places.
Yes, you can go to the Santa Ana volcano and in the Coatepeque Lake, and this has a beautiful view.
Yeah, you hike up the volcano in the morning and then go to the lake in the afternoon.
Yeah, you can have lunch there.
Yeah,
that's me in a lake. This is
that a Suchitoto?
Suchitoto Lake. Yeah. This is the same
San
waterfall? Antonio waterfall. Yeah.
So that's up on the Santa Ana volcano,
right?
Yeah. We hiked up there with our kids.
How was the hiking?
It was amazing. Yeah, it was fun. And you have that one guy that hikes up with you that brings the box of ice creams up the whole mountain and then sells them up there, for I think 4 times what you'd pay anywhere else, but you don't mind because he carried them all the way up there. So.
Yeah, and it's cold up there, but you're buying ice cream.
But you're hot from hiking. And it was still the middle of the day, but it's pretty amazing.
This is Suchitoto Lake.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that you were saying there was a plane crash.
A couple of years ago, 4 people were in the airplane and they crashed in the lake.
Actually, in the lake.
In the lake. So there was a fisherman in a boat. He was almost to leave when he saw the airplane crash, and he went there to see if somebody was alive. And he rescued one of the people, and they took to the hospital, and he's still alive. Yeah.
Is that Suchitoto too?
Yeah, that's Suchitoto in the back. And this is Tamanique waterfall.
Oh, that's Tamanique?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you definitely want to take a guide with you to that one so you don't get lost. I've heard people try to find it on their own and get a little lost.
Yeah.
Where's that at?
This is Tamanique.
Okay.
Yeah. They have 5 waterfalls. Continue.
So what is your vision for your company going forward? You just want to keep expanding the tours? Do you plan on, getting your own vehicles to be rentals, or do you want to serve more as like a connector for everybody, or what's kind of your vision for your business?
My vision for my company is to hire more people who knows about Bitcoin, who lives like me with Bitcoin standard. So they have to have the feeling to know that this is the way to live, the harmony, and people who speak English. I don't care if it's a guy or a girl, but I want people to work with me, but have been a little bit difficult to find somebody who trusts in this, that the Bitcoin is the best way to live. And I want...
You got to go over to the English classes at Hope House and recruit some of the people from there.
I was thinking to go to Mi Primer Bitcoin, maybe, or Hope House.
That would be a good place too, but I know at Hope House they also have the English lessons, and so you have
so they have to
a lot of them that speak great English and they understand Bitcoin. So
I was thinking
to go recruit from there.
Yeah, I'm gonna be taking some of these people, the students, and I'm saving my money in Bitcoin because I know Bitcoin is going up, so I can buy my own cars.
Okay.
Yeah, and rent my own car and rent.
Because it seems like that's a big market here. There's a lot of people come for, maybe 3 or 4 months, not long enough to buy a car, but they want to have something. And so to do those kind of long-term rentals, I think there's a big need.
And this is what I want to, I'm earning good money, renting another people's car. And if I have my own car, I can earn more money and save more money to get more capital and invest in my own company. So this is, I want to expand my company and do more marketing, have more workers available. So if I am going to do something with a customer, another customer can go in with another member of the team. So.
And does it seem like the tourism just keeps growing here?
Yes, but it's like I told you, people come here to visit the country just to see if it's true what they are looking in the web, like in social media. People are moving here, so they are talking about how great is the country, how safe is the country. So they come, they see, and they say, okay, time to move to El Salvador. Like, it's El Salvador, now we are the savior.
Yep.
Yeah, we live in the liberty, and we offer the liberty. The country offers the liberty.
How many times do you have clients that cancel their tickets to leave and just keep extending it? Have you seen?
Yes.
I see a lot of people come here in El Zante. They're like, I'm supposed to leave tomorrow, but I'm going to call and
they
move
reschedule,
it.
Reschedule.
Over and over again.
Until they say, okay, I'm not leaving. And they just start the residential process.
Yeah.
So I had a client, she knows who he is, and she told me, I picked them in the airport, and they told me, we only have one-way ticket, so we're not going back to our country. But they had to buy the ticket to prove that they are going to leave.
Yeah.
So they started the migration process, with Jeremy.
Yeah.
Because I suggest Jeremy to do that process. So he's the expert for that.
No, you see so many people that come in and then we're only going to spend 2 weeks, and it's 6 months later and they're still here, which says so much about what's happening here. So I want to make sure that listeners and viewers can find you. So what is the best way for them to contact you? I'm assuming you're on Twitter since you're dealing with Bitcoiners.
Yeah.
So let us know what your Twitter handle is, and then let's put the website up again too, so that people can find that. So what are you on Twitter?
Yes, I'm on Twitter. My Twitter is Real Sandy SV.
Real Sandy SV.
SV.
Okay.
Yeah, like SV from Salvador.
Salvador. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And people can just
if they
DM you on Twitter, or is it better for them to email you? Or?
No, on Twitter is okay, but they can get in contact through me. Where is contact us?
Down there at the bottom, yeah.
Yeah, at the bottom. They can find my email, my WhatsApp, so they can do through WhatsApp or Twitter. Easy. Even in my Twitter, there's a page, Vida page. So if they click there, there's a lot of ways to get in contact to me. If they have Telegrams, in Telegram, they can find me like Sandy Waves.
And you can take care of everything for them.
Yeah, everything.
Transportation to where they're sleeping, to where they should eat, to what tours they should do.
If they need cash for some reason, you can see the way to get in contact to me.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we are excited to watch your business grow here.
Thank you.
Hoping you start getting some Bitcoiners out to La Paria, Bitcoin Island, and see how that grows.
Yeah, for sure.
And we'll have to have you back on in a few months and give us some updates on what you're seeing in the country. But very excited to see entrepreneurs like yourself that are benefiting from the change that's happening here in El Salvador, taking advantage of it.
Yeah.
You got the Bitcoin and the tourism, both two things that are thriving here. So I don't know if there's anything else that you think people need to know that we haven't talked about.
I think that's enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Just get in contact to me. I'm going to help with everything. They don't have to be worried about anything. just get in contact and tell me what they want to do in this country. They want to move, I can help them with this, or if they want just to do business tour, real estate tours, anything. I can help to find a house, cars, like anything.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So make sure you guys contact Sandy before you come on down. It sounds like you have some customers reach out to you a day or two before, but I'm sure you like to have a little bit more notice. So
Yeah.
make sure you let her know you're coming, and she will take care of everything. And best part, you can pay for everything in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So.
I accept only Bitcoin.
Only Bitcoins.
100% Bitcoin, so be ready for that.
All right. Well, thank you, Sandy. Appreciate it.
Thanks to you for inviting me.